Welcome back, everyone. I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you all. We're recording on a Friday morning, and Angela and I were just saying we slept in. I woke up about an hour ago. So I'm surprised that I'm able to be as functional as I am right now because we had this really powerful conversation in light leadership last night that I kind of want to dive into a little bit as it pertains to this conversation today. But before we do that, I want to introduce our special guest, Angela Demeester. She's someone that I've known, I want to say close to 20 years now, and she's been in our world intimately. She's been a part of our team. Now she owns her own yoga studio. She has so many incredible things happening in her world. And so, Angela, I'm so grateful. I'm always so grateful to connect with you. I love you so much. I have such a heart connection with you. And maybe it's because we have so many overlapping people in our world. Maybe it's because it's just who we are and who you are. But I love you so much. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And thank you for taking the time to come and talk to the community today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to get to have this time with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Angela is this bright light in the world, okay? So she has done so many incredible things with her life, with her world, with the work. When I first met her, it was actually through a mutual friend that I grew up with in Northern Ontario here, Greg Thomas, and his wife. They weren't married at the time, but I met Angela through them. And then fast forward to we were a group of girls going to Body Blitz in Toronto, and Angela happened to be the manager there. And then fast forward many years later, I believe you had come in for some sessions. I think you attended some of the live classes that I used to do in Toronto. And then fast forward from there, Angela came into our world in Thrive in all of the programs, our meditation certification. I think she's completed all of our programs and has now launched and into her own expanded thing of life. It's so incredible because this was an idea that I remember you had like, wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be fun? Like maybe I could own my own yoga studio. Maybe I could serve clients in this way. And this thing took shape. And it started to formulate and it started to create, which is the magic of manifestation. And sometimes, we think to ourselves, we have to have it all figured out or we need to know all the steps. And what happened was the studio literally landed in her lap. So, Angela, can you speak into that a little bit more and tell everybody in depth about what you do and who you are? Because I know it's big, it's beautiful, it's vast, you're a mama, all the things.
Okay. Um, yes, well, I I'm a mom to two beautiful children, living in Peterborough, Ontario, and it's been 1 year since I took over a yoga studio, and it has been the most amazing thing. I still have to like pinch myself that it's happening. Like I wake up every morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love my life. Like I am so lucky. I'm so grateful. How did this all happen? But it's
Yes.
you guys
Isn't it
certainly helped me
amazing?
along the way. It's amazing.
It is amazing. I think
Yeah.
it's so incredible. And I want to touch on this before we dive into some of the questions that I think a lot of times people get stressed about how, right? How
Mhm.
will this come? How will this happen? How am I going to manifest this big dream? How's this thing going to come? And did you always know that you wanted to own your own studio?
Not at all. And even when it came to me, I wasn't even looking for it, right? It was like
Isn't
one of
that
those things
interesting?
where I knew I wanted to have bigger impact. I knew I wanted to lead. I actually did some journal writing around this the other day because it just dropped in. I was like, I need to remind myself of why I'm here. And so I had to journal write on like all the places I've been in my life where I was in a leadership role or where I had that impact. I had to remind myself. So I started journal writing about it. And, at the time I was just teaching classes, I was teaching online, I was just working around at different studios, but I always knew that I wanted to do more. And I've always been inspired by you and Gabriel and your impact and your business. And I was always saying to myself, I want to do something like that. I want something more. Like I love teaching, but I wanted to hold more. And so when this opportunity came, it was like, oh, well, that wasn't really what I was expecting. I was just expecting to try to keep growing my yoga practice and my teachings. And dive into coaching. But then the studio came and it's like one of those moments where you don't really expect. Sometimes the universe gives you something else than what you're looking for. And
Yeah.
a big part of that was, I think, just trusting myself along the way. Even when I met you guys and way back when, like when I really first met
Mhm.
you, if I take myself back there, I was always second guessing myself. I
Mm.
did not have very much trust in myself at all. Every
Mhm.
decision, all these things, like I was really like just wound up. And then I had
Yeah.
kids, and what I have learned with working with you and Gabriel, and it's a huge part of all the manifestations that have come to fruition, is trust. Trust, 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 trust. It's like one of the biggest things that came at the very beginning of my journey, and it's still with me throughout. It's just
Yeah.
trusting the unfolding, trusting myself, trusting my intuition. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. That's such a big part of it. That's the very thing that everybody's seeking and wanting. It's the
Hmm.
very thing that people do need to cultivate in order to create the wonderful life. And I love that the universal field gave you this gift because in that gift, it's fulfilling every single thing that I remember you and I talking about of all the things that you wanted for your life. It's like it delivered it in one nice little package so that you could fulfill
Yeah.
upon everything because there's this space and room for you to continue to grow. There's no cap. There's no
Yeah.
limit on how much you can grow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's like I get to continue teaching. I get to continue guiding and helping others, and bringing in, weaving in that experience that I had in my previous life of working in five-star luxury hotels, right? I get to weave that in where I was like a leader in a
Yes.
management role. I get to continue doing that with the people that at the studio, and then continuing to expand on all the other lovely offerings of all the other stuff that I love, right? Like different workshops and retreats, and it's just the best.
It really is. And you used to work, was that at Stillwater Spa and Hotel?
Yeah, Stillwater and at the Park Hyatt, and then the Hazelton in Yorkville.
Wow.
Um, Yeah, so those were some
Wow.
great experience working there, and I really love that environment, and I get to continue, having that kind of service in the yoga
Yes.
studio. Yeah.
And I want to highlight something for a second because many times I think people forget that every piece of our journey is a part of the puzzle piece that eventually, you're picking up these pieces along the way. And sometimes we don't see how it's all going to click together or the masterpiece that it's going to create. But you're picking up this piece and then you're picking up another piece and then you're picking up another. And then finally, it's like you're starting to see, or what in one moment, it all just clicks in that all the stuff behind the path that's been walked was worth everything. And it all of a sudden makes sense. Do you
Hey,
feel that?
100%. And isn't it funny how when we're just in the like in our day-to-day lives, we sort of think, well, what is happening? Like, why is all this happening? What am I doing? There's all these questions. But then trust, we come back to that,
Yes.
right? It's like it's such a beautiful
Mhm.
reminder that all of these things are for a reason. They're all lining up to create something really beautiful. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And you know what's coming into my awareness because I woke up with this thought this morning that sometimes we have this feeling, right? We have this intuition. I want you to speak into this too with me. This feeling or this intuition of taking a step in a certain direction or doing something that maybe we're like, yes, this feels really good, but logically we're like, I don't really understand why I'm doing this, or it doesn't logically make sense. And what does it feel like for you? Because I like this conversation of trust a lot. And I think it's really important for people to see. That's why I wanted to highlight it. Because many times we get this intuitive nudge, we get this hit, we get this something that says, yes, like go do this thing. And then sometimes our logical mind can pull us out to be like, well, why would I do that? Like that doesn't make any sense. Have you ever had that experience?
100%, 100%, many, many, many times.
And then what happens next for you? Like, do you listen and tune in and take the step, or have there been times where you're like, I see where I could have stepped in and I didn't.
I've had some times, like where I like to play with it too, right? It's kind of like,
Yes.
I feel like this is a yes, but what if I did no? You know what I mean? And
Mm,
then I've had experience where it's like, okay, yep, I see why I should have said yes.
yes.
But especially with the studio, I mean, that was such a
Yeah.
huge thing. Um, and even like if I think about like moving houses or moving to different cities, we've moved a lot over the years. But the studio definitely, like I sort of tuned in, and it was like it was yes, it was like
Yeah.
it felt really warm. It felt like this was the right place to go, and I meditated and I sort of thought about the different paths um, and when, yeah, when I thought about it logically, it might not have made sense.
Yeah.
And my husband and I definitely had those conversations like, is this going to be like a really good choice? Like, I don't know. Um, what's going to happen? And, but we both felt into it and it felt like the right thing. So it was really tuning into the body and into my
Yes.
heart and noticing how that felt. And yeah, that's just a big,
I love it.
big, big trust and a big, big yes.
And it feels so good when we follow that yes. Right? Like, doesn't it
Hmm.
feel so liberating and freeing when we actually take that step in the direction of what our intuition is telling us?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I remember just being in like this celebration energy for days.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
Of
still go back.
course. It's so good. And we celebrate you.
Still have to go back to the celebration energy, right? Even when things start to feel
Always.
dip down, you have to come right back up.
Yes. Always. And this is, I'll bring in a little bit of light leadership here because last night, in our light leadership program, everybody's working on some pretty big things, right? We're creating big things. We're dreaming bigger. We're stretching the outer limits of ourself, which requires us to grow. It really requires us to stretch and to grow. And last night, I had a whole other topic in mind. And when I tuned into the field, this is really about intuition again. I tuned into the field, and when I dropped in, I was like, we all need to rest. There's a moment in our journey of leadership where we too need to be held and we need to be supported. We need to drop down. And so that's why I think we all slept in this morning. I'd be surprised. I bet if I go check on our light leadership thread, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody slept in this morning, Right? And so let's talk about this a little bit in terms of, because you have completed Thrive, you're in light leadership now. I would actually love to talk a little bit about both because I do believe it's the natural progression when a lot of people come into Thrive, they're wanting to create something different with their life. When you think back to when you first came into Thrive, what were some of the things, if you can? I know sometimes it's challenging when I think back to like, what was I doing this for? But what were some of the big things that you were wanting to create change or transformation in your life when you first came into Thrive?
So if I go back and think about when I first came into Thrive, because I think I'm in my third round of Thrive. And when I first came in, I remember that I was just trying to navigate life. Like I had two kids, my youngest with a diagnosis of cerebral palsy. My nervous system was through the roof. My adrenals were fatigued. I was struggling through some physical symptoms as well. Like there was a whole range of things. Um, and coming into Thrive just helped me navigate life. And with that, I was also, diving into different things about with myself. Like I wanted to try astrology, and I was took Reiki, and I think I took your Intuition 101 in
Yes.
person. So I was on that journey as well, right? Learning more about myself. And I think the biggest thing was just trying to navigate all the things. And I kind of remember at the time, I was like, man, I hear about these other like practitioners saying like they had this mentor. And I'm like, I wish I had a mentor. And then you guys came
I
in.
love that.
Yeah, and then I guess the transition from from Thrive into Light Leadership, it just made sense because
Yeah.
so much has changed in my life and I've manifested some wonderful, beautiful things. And Light Leadership just made sense in terms of where I'm going now and the
Yeah.
space that I'm holding.
Yes, 100%. And I love having a mentor too. This has always been a thing for me. I said this to Gabriel. He's like, we are doing a lot. And I'm like, I know. I said, but I like having a mentor because I like being able to talk with people and I like being able to have some accountability and some support. And sometimes things get really big. And then I'm like, I just want to drop in and talk about the really big things. So I'm with you. Like I love having a mentor. There in the last, I'd say 10, maybe even longer, as far back as starting at the Transformational Arts College. I think I've always had a mentor in my life, someone that has guided different phases and stages of my journey. And I think it's really important because it's not just learning something new, it's being able to have that support, right? Like exactly what happened with Light Leadership last night, having that support, being able to really guide you all and help drop into that space and create a sacred circle for you all. This is so necessary when we're leading a big movement, when we have a business, when we have an idea, when we have something that we're bringing into the world. It is so necessary to have community. And you know this now because you're holding community for your space and for people in your town, right?
Yeah,
And
the
so it's,
community is huge, right? And that's
yes.
something that's so beautiful about Thrive and Light Leadership is not just the mentorship, which is
Mhm.
incredible, but it's also the community that you get to
Yeah.
be in this space with others that are just holding you and allowing you and to go through your stuff and you're seen and you're heard and you're held. It's amazing.
Yes,
It's so, so
exactly.
important.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And some of the miraculous things, you've had some pretty cool things. I'd like to highlight a few because a lot of times in this spiritual world, everything feels very etheric, right? And I want to tell people there are some really grounded things that happen for people. One, you've manifested this incredible studio. Two, I know your relationship has evolved and transformed. Can we touch on that just a little bit? Because that's a big part, I think, of our experience here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the studio was is absolutely huge. I don't think that I would have gotten here without having the support and the mentorship of you guys and the community. Um, Huge transformation. And I remember even back when we lived in Mississauga, like we were really struggling
Mhm.
financially, and we had to move. And I was like, I don't even know how this is going to happen. But through Thrive and through our my one-on-ones,
Mhm.
we were able to like move to Peterborough and buy a home when we thought that we were I don't know what we were going to do. We just didn't really think that we weren't in a good place financially and we were
Yeah.
really struggling and miraculously, maybe not so much miraculously, but through the work and through the mindset, we were able to actually purchase a home.
Mhm.
And then, my relationship, we still navigate everything, but it's amazing how these tools and practices really help to just shift everything.
Because you guys now are in a space where you can converse better, like
Yes.
communicate and connect stronger, right? I think people forget about this in terms of relationships, especially when you're building something. There's so many moving parts. When you have kids, that's a whole moving part. When you have business now, it's a whole other moving part. Then you've got yourself, that's another piece. And then when you have partnership, a lot of times the partnership kind of gets tossed to the wayside a little bit, right? And then the disconnect starts to happen. And it's so important to be able to navigate all of these areas of life. And I know sometimes it can feel like a lot, but what I've seen in Thrive is when people start to navigate one area, it's like all the other areas get touched. Every area of
Mm-hmm.
life, right, gets worked on just by default. And I've witnessed that with you. I'm so happy to hear and to feel into the elevated changes that are happening, not just for you, but for your kids, for you in the relationship with them, for you in your relationship with your husband. And then now it's also the business. So
Hmm.
let's talk a little bit about some of the material manifestations because again, they're the fun things too, right? Like when we can manifest miracle money, and we were having a lot of fun with this a number of weeks ago, and things just started to pop in.
Yeah. Yeah, that in that section of Thrive, it was the money and manifestation. And I was really committed to doing the work because I had this studio. I have a business
Yes.
now, and I'm responsible for a lot of people. It's a
A
big
team of
thing.
18, y'all. Like this is big,
Yes.
you know? Whew. I take a
Yeah.
deep breath on that one every time.
So I was really focused on it, and I still am, right? It's a really big part of all of this. And there was times when it felt really like stretched thin, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna make all this work? And you come to the end of the month and you're like, okay, I need to, pay rent and payroll. Those are the two biggest things.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it can feel tricky at the end of the month.
Yes.
During this section, there was like $9,000 sitting in my account at the end of the month, and it was incredible. It was such a good feeling. I go back to
Yes.
that moment all the time because I feel like it's really
Yes.
important to stay there and to keep
That's right.
bringing that energy back in.
Yes.
Anyway, so that was
And
a
that's
really,
huge.
it was huge.
When you messaged me that, I was like, what? I had hair standing off my face, and I don't even really have face hair, you know? Like I could feel there was so much energy. And I said to Kira, I'm like, holy cajoli, this is incredible. And those are those moments to bookmark in our life so that you can
Mhm.
keep coming back to them. Because again, if we experienced it once, we can do it again. And we can do it again. And we can do it again. And this is where the refinement comes in. And this is what I see you doing really well, Angela, is that refinement, the willingness to be soft and to go deeper within yourself and then continue to refine and grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it keeps happening, right? And I think a big part of it is the trust, right? It's like
Yes.
you have the mindset, you're doing the practices to keep yourself in the good energy. But even just recently, like I was really stretched with my instructors. I really needed Pilates instructors. We were really thinning out for the summer. Lots of people
Yeah.
were taking vacation. I don't know how this was going to happen. Like, what am I going to do? I can't even teach Pilates. Do I need to do
Mm-hmm.
training so I can teach
Mm-hmm.
classes? Anyway, I've just hired like six new people. They
Oh
don't
my
all
God, amazing. Congratulations.
they all just came in. And I'm trying to think, there was something else recently too that was pretty amazing. Anyway, again, just staying with it. I
Yes.
trust, trust, trust. It's all gonna work out.
Yes.
So
It really
yeah,
does.
yeah.
And I'd love to touch on a little bit. What are some of the things that you love most in being in Thrive and Light Leadership? Like, what would you highlight in your experience?
For me, it's really just a beautiful commitment to having like this, being able to tune in. For
Hmm.
me now, it's every Tuesday and Thursday night and
Yes.
Thursday morning, right? I
Yes.
have 3 times a week that I get to tune in to these beautiful conversations that keep
Yes.
me elevated and keep reminding me of what's important, how I can keep going. And the community is incredible. Being a part of there's the private chat group where there's so
Hmm.
much light and support there. But yeah, it's become almost like a little ritual, and my family knows that on Tuesday and Thursday nights, Mommy has her class,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's such an important part and piece for me. Yeah.
Mhm. This is what a lot of other people have said too. It becomes like a lifestyle, becomes a way
Mhm.
of living and being. And I feel that very much, very much. It is for us too. You know,
Mhm.
it's a way to plug in and stay really connected, and especially in a world where there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of things that could come in our field and in our mind to pull us out. And it's such a beautiful way to be able to stay connected to our truth and stay connected to our mission and our purpose. And so I'd love to talk a little bit more about that for a moment. Anything else that you feel, and we're going to highlight and we're going to hold space for you here in a moment around your vision. So just start contemplating and thinking about what you would love for us to hold space for you to amplify. Okay. I'll just plant that seed now. But anything else that you feel called to share about your time in Thrive, working with us, anything that's on your heart in terms of anything that you feel called.
Mhm. Well, at first, I feel so much gratitude. I feel so incredibly grateful and blessed to have crossed paths with you and to have had you come into my world. And again, I say this over and over again, but I literally do not feel like I would be where I am in my life if I didn't have you guys in my world. Like you really helped me change and shift so many things. And it's just such a blessing. And has it been a blessing to watch you as well grow and navigate your whole business? I've been along the journey and it's just so inspiring. So I would say that as well. Really inspiring to be in your presence, to watch you guys and to hear your teachings because you share so much about real life examples and the way you navigate your life. And you're just really natural and authentic, and it's so beautiful. So thank you. Have a lot of gratitude for you.
Thank you so
So much
much.
appreciation.
It has so many tears that are like, I'm just holding them right here, especially because we cracked open last night pretty big. And so it's
Hmm.
like the tears are readily flowing this morning. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing that, Angela.
it really means a lot to be in your presence and have you share these teachings from such a raw, natural, authentic place. And I think that that speaks volumes. Yeah, and I
Thank
really,
you.
really mean that.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate
I
you.
think that there's a lot of teachers out there, and it can get a little fuzzy, right? There's so much coming at us all the time, and I would really like to highlight that to anyone that's listening is that like you and Gabriel are real. You're so beautiful and amazing, and it's really, really truthful and authentic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I appreciate all that you are, all that you hold space for. I love having you a part of our world in all the ways, in all the different ways. And we're considering holding a live event over in Bancroft area close to Peterborough so that we can come and do something fun in your studio. Gabriel and I were talking about it. Yes, I was looking at Airbnbs. I was looking at different things the other day. So stay tuned. I'll send you a message and let you know because I think that would be really, really fun.
It'd be amazing.
So where can people find out more about your studio?
You can go to willowptbo.com. We're in Peterborough, Ontario. We're the only yoga studio in Peterborough's West End. And it's a beautiful community, beautiful space. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well. It's the Willow Studio in Peterborough, Ontario.
Amazing. I'll make sure that we post the link for you. Definitely check it out if you're touring around Ontario and you want to go check out a really cool space. And Peterborough's not that far from Toronto. I think it's what, like an hour, hour and 10?
Yeah, it depends. You can take the 115 now from Toronto to Peterborough, and it's
Oh,
about an hour and 20 minutes, depending. And it's a great space to come to, even if you're sort of cottaging or summering in
yes.
the Kawarthas. We're like only like 15 minutes from some of the lakes. So
It's beautiful. I love that area so much. It's so beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you so much. And so, what I would love to do as we close out, we want to hold space for you. So, all of us tuning in, I would love for us to hold space for Angela and all that she's creating. And, Angela, if you can bring into your heart and mind something that you want to highlight and hold in your heart, hold in your energy field, and we're going to energize it with you, through you, for you, so that Angela continues to be of service in all the ways that she's called to, that her mission gets brighter and bigger, that all the resources and the support comes in to match that vision, match that mission, and that she's able to continue to hold the whole thing, holding her clients, her team, her family, her kiddos, her husband, herself, and continues to shine as brightly as she has the entire way through, brighter and brighter, better and better, lighter and lighter, and that even more abundance flows in to your world, Angela, so that you can continue to thrive, you can continue to be of service, and continue to show the light path to all those that come in your direction and cross paths with you.
Mm, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So it is.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. I love you so, so much.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you so much.
Thank
Always
you,
a
honey.
pleasure.
So joyful. I feel like we could have there's so many directions. We'll have to have another conversation about so many other things were popping in my mind. So I'd love to have you come back sometime and we can just
Yeah,
like we'll follow the intuitive flow wherever we go.
absolutely. I would love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you so much, Angela. I love you. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you again really soon.